everybody, it's Lisa and I'm so excited to be here back with another layout and process video for you guys for the Spiegelmom Scrap Shop. This month's theme is cut files and sequins, so here is a free file that is available in the Spiegelmom Scrap Shop. It is actually now a category in the shop itself where all of the free cut files can be found all together in one place, and there are some pretty good ones over there, so go ahead and check that out. I am using this heart one that I did cut out in white, and I'm going to put it on a white background. Now, even though you really can't see it where it is right now, I am going to add a little bit of splatter and a little bit of mist, and what that's going to do is make the cut file a little bit more obvious, and just not terribly obvious. It's just going to bring it a little bit forward and a little bit more noticeable, but adding a cut file tone on tone like that really makes a good texture behind everything that you're working on without being too bulky. So instead of a ton of texture paste or a ton of anything else, it's just a nice little subtle difference in the background that I think really makes a difference, and I love doing this. Now, the other cut file I'm using is one that I've had in my stash for quite a while. I have a huge stash on my computer of cut files. So I went ahead and I just cut it out of black cardstock. And now I am taking a piece of scrap white cardstock. I keep everything left over after my die cuts are used. And so I have this perfect piece to trim down. And I'm going to back this cut file with the open hearts in just this piece of white. So that way I can go ahead and embellish it the way I have planned. And in order to back a cut file, in case you guys don't know, you just take a piece of the pattern paper or cardstock or anything else that you want to use. You cut it slightly smaller than the opening that you are using and go ahead and glue that in place on the back. And then on the front you have the beautiful pattern showing through the openings of your cut file. Now, what I'm doing here is using the baby butterfly and the Teal Me Tomorrow sequins that are absolutely stunning and gorgeous and beautiful, and you want them. So go ahead and check out the description box below. Everything that I used today will be linked, as well as my coupon code, so you guys can get a discount picking up anything that you're interested in. And I've just gone ahead and filled this white heart with wet glue. I laid my sequins in it, and now I have this gorgeous sequin-filled cut file. I did a little bit of pink, and then some teal, and then some more pink, and just created a little design inside using just the sequins. So I'm going to set that aside to dry completely and get to work on layering my photos so that way I can have the photo cluster down when the cut file is dry and ready to be moved on to the layout. I have here a really pretty piece of gold foiled cardstock pattern paper, and I'm going to put this directly behind my photo. It is foiled, so it brings a little bit of attention to the picture without having to put a dark color behind it, because the gold foil catches the light and it's just really beautiful. So that was what I chose to map my photo with directly behind it. And now I'm just going through different light colors of scraps that I pulled out of my scrap bin, and I'm just trying to decide where I want each scrap to go. These are all soft shades of the exact same colors in the sequins, really soft pale pinks, really pretty light tealy blues. The photo is from officially now 9 years ago. This is when my fiance and I first started dating. So this photo is now 9 years, like I said, 9 years old. And it's just still one that I love. We are so young and naive and just so new to each other that you can see it on our faces. And I just love looking back at this photo, and I wanted to document it in a fun way. So I'm just going ahead, looking at the patterns, looking at the sizes that I have left of little scraps, and figuring out where they look best behind the picture. A lot of people have trouble with layering different patterns or different colors, and I say whatever looks pleasing to your eye. There's no rules in scrapbooking. There's no, you have to put a black and white polka dot behind a gray card. Like, there's just not. So I have no rhyme or reason to how my layers go down. I just I'm just picking up pieces, seeing if they work. If they don't look good to me, I don't use it. So that way, when I'm done, everything does look good to me and I am happy with the layout that I have created. I'm just going to go ahead and keep trimming down and piecing together the background behind my photo. This is one of the parts that takes me the longest because I am a little bit on the indecisive side. I have a hard time committing and just settling on something. I like to say, but there just might be something better. That's what's always in my mind. But there might be something that works better. And I'm slowly but surely trying to overcome that so that way I can get a little bit faster. But I relax. This is for fun. This is my creative outlet. This is something I do for me as just a relief, a stress reliever, and I try not to stress over this. So I just take my time looking at the patterns. Here I am trying to find a small piece from the cut apart that has a gorgeous pattern on it and find just how much of it I want to use. I keep going back to my guillotine trimmer that you see me using right now just to make sure that the sides are always straight. I will do, torn edges or off center or not straight edges from time to time. But this time I'm trying to make them all straight and I'm just continuing to go through these papers until I decide I've had enough. It looks really pretty and I'm done. Now, to make it pop a little bit more, I am going to take one more solid piece of cardstock that complements all of the colors that I have behind the photo going on, just to give it a slight solid border around the entire photo mat. And of course, it didn't go down straight and there was no other straight edge to use, so I, of course, ruined that piece of paper. And now I'm looking for another one to use in order to fix what I did. And I decided that in order to make it really pop, I am probably going to go with black. And I just really think that the black works great with the title that I used, which I cut out in black. He's wearing black in the photo, and since all the other colors are so light, and it's going on a obviously white on white background, that the black is probably the best color to go ahead and use. And I'm just trying to figure out how to make the small piece that I have here work, but then I realize I have a bigger one. And I'm going to make it work by going ahead and adhering it. It's not big enough the way it is, but I'm going to show you in a moment how to make your cardstock or piece of scrap or pattern paper stretch to fit you, to make it work for you, so that way you do have enough. I'm just going to go ahead now and trim some pieces and give up on matting the entire thing. I'm going to add the black to the edges, and that is going to be my little bit of black to make the photo stand out on the white on white background. I'm just going to use a pair of scissors to trim it down a little bit, and then finally, I am done fussing with my photo, and I can go ahead and bring the entire layout back over and start finishing up the layout. Now I'm going to go ahead and use some ATG to adhere the photo a little bit lower than dead center of the page. And what I'm going to do after that is add my title in, and the black papers kept sticking and moving around, so I'm trying to get those situated here now. And after that is all down, this is where I'm going to bring the cut file in, and I'm going to use some wet glue first because the sequins did make this piece very heavy. But in order for it to have an initial tack and not fall off the layout, I am going to use some ATG. The wet glue is just going to give it a little bit of extra hold when that dries and really get into the crevices of the cut file that it's sitting on top of, because you got to remember that white cut file is down there, and I'm just going to squish everything down good and tight so that way I won't find my title at the bottom of my layout later on. As I go ahead, I'm going to do one other thing. My white piece of background paper, I'm going to trim down a little bit and just give the top and bottom edges of my paper a little bit of difference or interest. And what I'm going to do that by is adding some strips of this teal pattern paper that I did use behind my photo, and of course on camera, in the middle of a layout, my ATG gun has to run out. So as you can see here, the teal strips are already adhered to the back of the layout. And now I'm just going to go ahead and add some ATG to the entire thing. And I'm going to mat the entire layout on the piece of black cardstock that I used to cut the title out of. I like doing this so that way I don't waste the paper. And it just is already the perfect color that I wanted to mat the entire thing on. And that is going to finish up my layout today. I hope you guys enjoyed my use of cut files and filling them in, and we'll go ahead and try to use them and do this technique yourself. A couple more sequins splattered around, and that should finish everything off. There will be close-ups at the end, as well as links to all the products I used today in the description box down below. Don't forget to go check out Spiegelmom Scraps and have a scrappy day. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye!